Hi, I'm Kristen, and I had ACL reconstruction surgery 12 days ago. I was in no position or disposition to be able to do something like this last week, only a week after my surgery, so I'm doing it now. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience having the surgery, mental and physical effects from it, and then at the very end I'm going to tell you a secret tip from me on how to mentally survive this surgery. So on the day of the surgery, I went in pretty early. My surgery time was 6:30, so we had to go in like at 5 something. I didn't eat or drink before the surgery, of course. Once I got there, they sent me straight up to where I needed to go. I was dressed in one of their gowns, and then there was like curtains. It was a big room, lots of different people getting ready for surgery. The anesthesiologist came in. He numbed up my leg, which was very painful, and they gave me like, I don't know, a lot of different things that I don't even really remember. And then they wheeled me into the surgical room, and I was doing a pretty good until they put the anesthesia in my arm. They were like, we're gonna go ahead and put it in now. And then I started to like almost cry, pretty much. That's the last thing I really remember doing. And then obviously I don't remember anything else until I woke up. And when I woke up, I was in this brace, and I was a lot more bulked up than right now because obviously I was swollen a lot where it was going to be. And then I also had something like this wrapped around my leg, so it was like really bulky with the brace on as well. And in addition to that, they send you home also with this like ice pad thing, and it's a like cold therapy circulation thing that is very easy to use so that you don't have to worry about like freezing ice packs and getting them out of the freezer all the time, which is a lot less work for everyone involved. The first day when they sent me home right after the surgery, it was a great day, honestly. Like, I was feeling mentally pretty clear because I was like, yes, it doesn't hurt that much yet. Obviously, the nerve block was still on for like multiple days for me afterwards. So I had a pretty easy go of it the first day. I didn't even like need to sleep right afterwards. I felt pretty alive, and I went to sleep really late that night. And then the next day is when I like really started having trouble with like my foot had been hurting a lot because the nerve block was coming off, and I really didn't like that it was numb, but like halfway numb, and I couldn't figure out how to get the rest of it not numb. I don't want to go into all of the specifics, but as many people say with ACL reconstruction, there's like a day where everything's cool, and then it's like 3 days of just absolute torture. But my foot was my main concern for a while. Nothing in terms of the staples had been really hurting me until the first day that I went to PT, and then I had to kind of engage my muscles around them, you know, and get them going. So my first day doing PT was like 4 or 5 days after the surgery. And I still actually have not looked at my staples at all because I don't want to. I saw one of them accidentally when my therapist was like changing the dressing at PT last Friday, and it was metal, and I was like, this is metal. And she was like, yeah, it's metal. It's like a real staple. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna look at what they look like. I don't get them out for another couple of days, but I'm not really keen on seeing any gore at the moment. I do have a lot of like bruising. I might as well just show a little bit. It's not gonna be gory. I mean, I wouldn't be able to handle it if it was gory. The first time you go to PT, they will take the brace off of you and give you like, they'll clean you up, put some bandages on you, and then give you a sleeve. I'm sorry, I can't really bend my leg very well right now. This has been compressing me for the past few days, and I know it's kind of like difficult to see, but right now I actually progressed to being able to have band-aids here and then a big bandage here, and I have a lot of bruising right here, which I haven't figured out exactly what that's from yet. My physical therapist says she wasn't super worried about it at the moment. But the first days of PT were really difficult for me. I genuinely couldn't get through the exercises at all, and I was very upset with myself because I've been doing all of that prehab. I really thought that I was just like gonna be #1 PT star, but of course, like, your leg and your brain and healing like don't care what you want to, that you like want to get an A+ in something. They just like want to recover. It was very frustrating to me because it was very painful, the staples at the site right here, and very discomforting when I would try to do the like quad sets and quad holds that I had shown in a lot of my prehab therapy videos, and then after a few days, like a week afterwards, everybody that I had heard talking about like staples and stuff had said like, oh, they're gonna hurt so bad for like the third day, the fourth day. That was not the case for me. It was like a week until like 2 days ago. It was extremely painful. The staples just like constantly prickling at my skin. So those are the physical effects. I also wrote down 3 mental effects that I want to go through that I think just kind of happened to everybody. So one of the things that I had to go through, I kind of already touched on this with PT, was like, I don't know, I had this image of like, oh, it's not going to be that hard to, you know, now that I did all the prehab exercises and I feel really strong and my muscles are really strong, it's not gonna be that hard to transition into like doing really well in PT, and like maybe I'll be able to really get up and walk and not have to use the crutches after like a few weeks or whatever. And I'm still fully on the crutches, fully locked brace. Some people are definitely ahead of me in the PT that they've been doing, but I'm satisfied now with the progress I've been making. Since 3 days ago, I finally started seeing some progress. I was so worried that since I felt like I chickened out of a lot of the first part of the PT process because of the pain, and I just couldn't get myself to push through it, that I would just never be able to unlock, you know, the stuff that I need now of like a leg lift and heel exercises and stuff, or heel slides. But it's been going a lot better now, because I think I just had to get to a point where the pain was manageable for me, and that probably looks really, really different for all the different people that go through this. So the first thing I wanted to mention that took a toll on me mentally was just like reality setting in. And this happened a lot last week, where I was like, I really thought I was going to be able to at least like kind of lift to shift my leg, and I still cannot do that like 12 days later. Like my brain looks at my leg and is like, this will be very easy, leg like lift up, and my leg is like, nah. I don't remember how to do that at all, and I'm gonna give you some pain because you tried. So just the reality setting in of like how terribly long of a process this is going to be, and I kind of have revised my thoughts on like when I'm actually going to be able to get back to sport or like training anything that I have been training. It's not going to be April where I get to start doing things again, or even like June, July. It's going to be like the fall. The second mental effect just being getting through the pain that I was talking about, which I think just has different levels for everybody, and the fear that like trying the exercise was going to result in like a huge jolt of pain was really mentally like warping for me in the first few times in PT, because I literally like the PT would be asking me like, what, like, do you feel the muscle there? Like, can you engage it? And I was like, I know I can, I know I feel it, but I cannot get past the fear of this is going to be so extremely painful, and I don't want to feel that. So it was more of a mental thing for me. Maybe that's everybody's experience, but for some reason I just like imagine that everybody's really pushing through a lot of this pain, and I really couldn't do it. I could not do that. So the reality really set in on timelines, the mental and physical pain of having to go through this. And the third thing is like loss. When I'd heard people talk about this surgery before, a lot of people said that they felt very isolated. And I don't think I was doing that in that exact way, but I was definitely feeling like it's been hard for me to sleep just because of like, I had like loss of time. Like I feel like I'm losing a lot of my life to this. It's really messed with a lot of my plans, which I was so positive about before the surgery. But once that reality sets in and the pain, I think that's what like they kind of accumulate together to become a loss in your mind of like, I'm losing out on all of this. I can't do this. It's going to take me so long to be able to get back to do this, that it can just seem like such a huge uphill battle that like you don't really know when all of these checkpoints are even going to come, like when I'm even going to be able to lift my leg again. It definitely is like extremely mentally challenging, I'm sure, to go through any surgery, but definitely my experience in this was like absolutely harrowing. And I'd say that really the end of that first week is when I was like really, really, really struggling. And I don't think that any of these things are really necessarily avoidable. I think that anybody in any station of life who goes through something like this is probably going to experience having a reality check, having a lot of mental and physical pain and feeling some kind of loss, which could lead to feeling very disconnected from other people, because other people are just like moving on with their lives right now, because I would be too if this wasn't happening. Now, so here's the like little secret that I've found out. The biggest thing that helps me get through this, and you know, the period where I felt really broken only last for a few days, and be able to be more positive on the other side of this now, on the other side of those, you know, 3-4 days where I was really feeling awful, was something that I want to call mental identity. I could not have survived this surgery 2 years ago. Like, in my brain, I think I would have had just months long depression from it. And maybe that's just because, you know, we all grow in life and we all think like, oh, I know so much more than I did a few years ago. But throughout the past years of traveling, and I don't know if you've seen all of my stuff when I used to live in my car, and like I really threw myself into life in a way where I had to like really show up and provide for myself every day, and I didn't get to choose sometimes if my plan went according to plan, and oftentimes it didn't, and I had to make a lot of adjustments, whether big or small. Being in that mindset every day really taught me a lot of mental flexibility. And something that comes along when you have mental flexibility is the way that you see yourself. And I think when I was living not like on the road, or just like before I kind of really took the leap to do what I'm trying to do with my life right now, and a lot of new experiences and travels, I was very focused on, you know, my identity being tied to what I could physically do or how I physically looked. And that is why I think I could not have survived this a few years ago, because this is not like a choice. I don't get to choose like, oh, I get to go work out today. I don't get to choose to look a certain way right now. You have to, when you go through something like this, just kind of succumb to like whatever state it's going to put you in. So having gone on the road and done some things that I wanted to do with my life already, and pushed myself in a lot of ways to have mental flexibility, to not just exist in a way each day where I'm basing myself off of how, you know, fast I can run or the way that I look, has helped me kind of accept the fact that there is nothing I can do right now to control the kind of shape I'm in, or, you know, besides PT, like, you know what I'm saying? It's largely out of my control, and that would not have fit into a life that I'd created for myself years ago, whereas now I don't want that to be my life, but it is, and I can like survive with that. I just mean that you have an identity that is mentally you, that doesn't decide who you are based on your physical body and capabilities, because any of us have the ability to end up not being able to walk tomorrow, or not being able to move in a certain way, or, you know, breaking our arm. So I think the way that I mentally got through this so far was by building up those tools for myself in other areas of my life, and the mental flexibility and mental identity to cling on to while I'm going through all of this. And I also would like to add a caveat to that I still heavily struggle with mental identity anyways. I don't think I'm the best person to look to for that at all. It's been helpful that I've worked on it so far, so that I didn't absolutely crumble from all of this. So yeah, that was my experience. I'm so glad I'm feeling so much better. It truly was awful. I am probably going to share a little bit more of the rehab, but it's not going to be as many videos as like my prehab stuff was. And I'm going to put out some of my other travel stuff in the meantime as well. Thank you for watching. If you've gone through the same thing, then let me know what you agreed or disagreed with in the comments. And if you're about to go through the surgery, you might find helpful the video that I made on the 7 most helpful things that helped me get through the first week of surgery. Anyways, see you later. Thank you. Bye.